Hi everyone, and welcome back to Stamp with Anna. And today I have the third installment of Technique Tuesday, and the theme for March was using our embossing folders. And the first week I used an embossing folder just as you normally would. I ran it through, I did all of my stamping, and then I ran it through so that the stamped image looked like it was done as a piece of artwork because it has the same embossing as the background. And we made a coordinating envelope. The second week, we inked up the embossing folder so that this is the brick and mortar embossing folder. I inked up the folder and ran it through. I inked it up with Cajun Craze, and then I ran it through the embossing machine, and I came up with this beautiful embossed colored brick. And today we're going to emboss with vellum. Vellum is absolutely beautiful. It's a great type of paper. You can do so much with it. I'm going to do a Technique Tuesday month all on vellum, and then you'll really hear my spiel about how much I love vellum paper. But for this one, I think when you emboss it, it looks so nice because it really makes an indent in the paper and it brings that paper to life. So this is the card that we're going to make. And what I have for supplies, my card base is thick basic white, 5.5 by 4.5, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then I have a matte piece, which is petal pink, and that's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then I have a piece of mint macaron, which is 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I have my vellum, and I've cut 4 strips. Each one is 3/4 by a tiny bit over 5. And the reason I did it a tiny bit over 5 is when I attach them to my card base, I wanted to make sure I didn't make them too short. So I cut them a little bigger so that I know for sure that they will fit. And I'm going to use the Greenery Embossing folder. And this embossing set comes with 2 different folders. There's this one here, let me see. We put a piece of paper inside so you can see it. That has this nice floral pattern. And then we have this one here, which has, it's more of a tight floral pattern. And that's the one we're going to use. So I'm going to bring in my mini stamp and emboss machine. And I'm going to make my sandwich. I have plate number 1. And then I have my embossing folder, and then I'm going to take my 4 pieces of vellum, and I'm simply going to lay them in my my embossing folder. Close my lid, and I'm going to add plate number 3, and I'm going to run them through. Now I could have cut my paper and then run it through the machine and then sliced up my pieces. But I always find that when I'm cutting paper that's already been embossed, I feel like I'm not getting a nice clean cut, so that's why I usually emboss and then cut. 6 of one, half dozen of another, I guess. So now I have to attach my 4 embossed pieces onto my mint macaron. Now I know attaching vellum to your projects, sometimes you can see the glue behind it. So I'm going to show you a little trick that I use. I have my silicone pad here, and then I made a little dollop of multi-purpose glue. Then I have a quartered sponge that I have attached, that I have scrunched up with a binder clip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the back end of each of these pieces, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue lightly on this. And when I attach this to my mint macaron, you're going to see that it does not show. Or if it does show right now, it won't show once it's dry. So I'm going to do that to all 4 pieces. And you can see that they are cut just a tiny bit longer than what I needed, so that I know for sure that I have them. I have enough. So it's better too long than too short, right? So I'm going to add a little bit more adhesive on the ends of this one. And then my last one. And it really doesn't take a whole lot of adhesive to secure these. And then there is my last one. Move that out of the way. And I'm going to come in with my snips, and I'm just going to snip off the overhang. Okay. And there it is. Now, isn't that pretty? It's nice and soft. It's like a frosted look over the green. You can still see the green peeking through the vellum, but it's got a nice, soft, muted look to it. Now I'm simply going to attach this to my petal pink, and I don't use petal pink that often, but I thought it looked good with the mint macaron. Okay, so there's that. Then I have my organza ribbon. I don't know if this is still available. It might be retired. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to come in and just make a bow. And I want this bow to be a bit fluffy. I'm going to use this as a wedding card. Okay, and bring in my shears. I'm just going to trim that. I'll take care of trimming it to the right length after I finish putting my card together. Now this card simply gets adhered to my card base. It's a quick and easy card. And the embossing just gives it the look that it took a long time to do. Now I have a piece of scrap basic white, and using the stamp set, where is it? Peaceful Moments. I'm going to, for the outside, I'm going to use this stamp here, Congratulations. And I'm going to ink that up in Petal Pink. And just drop that down. Then, using the Ornate Frames dies, I'm going to run this through my Big Shot, and I'll be right back. Now, I want to attach this right here, but I think it kind of just blends in there. I want it to stand out. So what I'm going to do is I have a quartered sponge, and I'm going to ink it up in Petal Pink. I'm not going to distress the edges. I'm just going to run it along the edges ever so slightly, just to give it a tiny shadow of color so that it stands up nicer. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to just attach this to my card, and I'm going to bring this over a little bit so that it is in between the card edge and the card mat. I just think that gives it a lot more dimension. So now also from that same set, I'm going to do my stamping for the inside. And this, I'm going to use this for a wedding card. And the sentiment is, wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. So that's my card all done. All I have to do is add some pearls to it. And I'm going to scatter 2 different size pearls. On my tag, I'm going to use 3 little ones. Did you know I like to do everything in 3s? There's 1, There's 2, and there's 3. And then I'm going to use the next size, like a medium size pearl. And I'm going to just gather those right onto my embossed pieces. And this, whoops, this one I'm going to put right through about here. And now that I have my my pearls where I want them to be, now I'm going to decide how much of the tails I want to cut off of my ribbon. There we go. How quick was that? I think this card took less than 5 minutes, and it's such a wow factor. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, I'd love it if you'd give my video a thumbs up and possibly subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you have any questions about the products I used or the project, certainly contact me through my blog, www.stampwithanna.net. And if you do not have a demonstrator with whom you work, certainly let me know, and I'll be glad to send you out a catalog. Thanks so much, and have a great day.